here for one of these music collection updates, and I know it's been a hot minute, okay, since I did one of the music ones, because I did do a book review for Rob Halford's book. But let's get to it. First off, technical death metal here with A Last Breath, Visions. This is a Mexican band. They do sing in English. All right, The Last Breath, a very technical death metal. I saw these guys live, and I bought the CD directly from them. And yes, I did have it signed right there by the band. 4-piece band. Their guitars have 8 strings or 7 strings or whatever. They do a lot of noodling in the mixing it in with the death metal, but with death metal vocals, pretty good songs also. All right, so and a lot of energy. A really good band, I think. Last Breath. This is an EP. It's got 7 tracks. Saw those guys in a bar here in my city. Now we have come with some power metal. One could call it symphonic or even a folk metal here with Spain's Mago de Oz. All right, a very popular band in Spain and in all of Europe. Right there, Alicia en el país, Alicia en el metalverso, Alicia en el metalverso, which is Alice in the metalverse. A riff right there on Alice in Wonderland. Here the songs are in Spanish. Of course, it is a concept album. Right there. Pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Let's go now with album that I bought on a recent trip to Mexico City. And in a flea market there that's called El Chopo, which is a flea market that specializes in rock, metal, punk, all that stuff. There I met this band, Next, which is a thrash metal bands from way back in the day, I believe back in the 80s. And this is one of their very early albums. Okay, it's Invasión Nuclear, which of course means nuclear invasion. Absolutely raw and garagey sounding, Production values here are pretty primitive. Thrash metal, old school thrash metal. A bit simplistic, I am kind of a bit over this kind of thrash. But anyway, because it's a Mexican band, I'm glad to have it. Invasión Nuclear by Next. I also met the band's singer, and he signed the CD for me. Okay. Next is one that I've had a bit of a thorn in my side that I didn't have it, because I remember seeing it back in the day, and I passed on it because I was kind of over Dio at the time. This came after Strange Highways. This is Angry Machines, of course, and Strange Highways kind of left me cold. I thought, where is Dio going with this new sound? But so I passed on it, and this was a bit hard to get for the longest time until it was now reissued. This is the reissue right here from BMG, Angry Machines. It comes in one of these hardcover digipacks, and it does have a bonus disc, which is recorded live on the Angry Machines tour 1997. Okay, as far as the album goes, of course I had heard it before. Very, very angry. There's a lot of very heavy, a lot of start-stop rhythms, unusual songwriting for Dio. You could tell he was exploring new areas. Some have a bit of a more slow, doomy, mechanical feel to it. There's some glimmers right there of the old Dio, especially in songs like Hunter of the Heart or Double Monday, which I think were the two tracks that the Dio would later on play live in his live sets. Okay, so Angry Machines. And speaking of the live album that is in here, Okay, when I was listening to Dio's in between song banter, it sounded kind of familiar, you know, and I'm wondering if it is taken from this album, Inferno, Last and Live, specifically from disc two, you know, which has some of these songs. And I'm just gonna have to do a more close side by side comparison to see if maybe this live album that is included here as a bonus disc is an edited version of this, Inferno, Last and Live. Though of course it could be just a coincidence because artists often repeat the same in between song banter, from during their tours, during the entire tour. Okay, Kiss does that. Iron Maiden does that as well. But still, I'm very glad to have it. And with this, I complete my Dio collection because this is the only one that I didn't have. So I'm probably going to be doing another Dio collection update. Now that I have Angry Machines. And speaking of Dio, but before we, let's get to it right now. A book that I have not yet read. This is in fact my brother's book, and he's lent it to me to read. Ronnie James Dio, Rainbow in the Dark, his autobiography, written together with Mick Wall and Wendy Dio. Okay, so this was, of course, posthumously released several years after he passed away. This is the soft cover version. There is a hardcover available, and I cannot wait to get to it so I can do also a book review for this. So wait for that. That is upcoming. Last, and I don't know to say maybe least here, when I was over there in the flea market in Mexico City, I also came across the band, the thrash metal band, Transmetal, which I've sometimes mentioned here, and I also have them here as a patch. Here, Transmetal. Okay, this is a classic 80s and 90s Mexican thrash metal band. This is not one of the albums. One of the members of the band has a bit of a poetic side, so he's done recorded this CD of poetry along with this book of poetry. All right, I'm not really that much into poetry. In fact, none at all. But I'm willing to give it a try. The poetry that I listened to right there on the CD is pretty depressing, So let's see how that goes. He of course signed it to me right there. And finishing it off with the two digital album purchases. The first one will be Canada's doom metal masters Cauchemar with their album Rosa Mystica. Okay, so this is a Canadian band. They're from Quebec, I believe, and they do sing in French, which I really admire. Okay, I really like it when a band goes the extra mile, tries to sing in their own language. Okay, so Rosa Mystica, really good doom metal. It's almost a cliche to say that they have a Sabbath influence. All right, of course they do like all doom metal bands, but I think they really go beyond the influence and with some really good songwriting. They have a female singer who has a fantastic voice, a very haunting voice. She does not try to go for the operatic singing or the death metal growls. She just uses her normal voice, and it really fits the music perfectly. Okay, so Rosa Mystica by Cauchemar. Really glad to have it in my collection. And the next digital album purchase is from Pagan's Mind. Okay, and this is a progressive metal band, a really good one, and this is their live album called Full Circle. All right, so if it is purchased as a CD form, I believe it is a double album, because there's quite a bit of songs, a really great playing all throughout. There is of course a bit of a more than a bit of a Dream Theater influence on their music, but they do have their own style. So, Full Circle by Pagan's Mind, really recommended if you like really well played progressive metal, and if you like live albums like I do. Okay, so that's it for this rock and metal update. Stay tuned for the review of that Dio book, which I'm really looking forward to reading. And also, as a side note, and I don't want to jinx it, but this band right here, Arch Enemy, is coming to my city, in December of 2024, which is still, as of the making of this video, several months away, but I do already have my ticket. I hope I don't jinx it by mentioning it, but I am very excited to see, Arch Enemy, one of my favorite bands. That's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Keep rocking.